Rafael Devers traded to the Giants. Who knew that Father's Day 2025 would bring us such a big deal? And in 8.5 years in Boston, a 3-time All-Star, a guy that was headed for the Mount Rushmore. Easy for me to say of the franchise. I'm still tongue-tied over it. CY and I, minds blown collectively over this trade. A bunch of pitching going to Boston. The million-dollar question is, who wins, right? We want to score these immediately. Jared Carrabis is an MLB Network contributor, also hosts a couple of podcasts, Baseball is Dead, and his Red Sox pod, Section 10. Jared, we're dying to know. Red Sox Nation, yay or down? What do they think of this deal?
The biggest thumbs down, Matty V.
Wow.
What is going on, man? Like, it feels like a bomb went off. Like, before this trade broke, I got a message about it, a couple of messages being like, something's about to go down. There's a little bit of commotion going on. And then I hear it's about Rafi. And I'm like, well, this type of stuff probably gets talked about behind the scenes all the time. So I didn't put a ton of stock in it to coming to fruition. So then we get like the breaking news out of nowhere. We were kind of on high alert because then I got told, there's a very high chance this is going down. But we're like, they're not going to trade Rafi. They just swept the Yankees. Rafi just homered today. They just got back over 500. You've been trying to salvage the season. You finally get there, and then you trade Rafael Devers. Something to me that we're not hearing the whole story here.
Yeah, it was so much noise surrounding the drama with Rafael Devers, but credit to him, he found a way to block out that noise and still went out there and produced on a regular basis. So I'm very curious, do you feel that the inflexibility that he showed up to this point of changing positions played in the decision for the Red Sox to make the move?
It had to. This just feels almost like a reaction to this personal beef that was brewing between Craig Breslow and Rafael Devers. Because when you come into spring training, you spring it on him that, hey, you're moving off third base. We just signed Alex Bregman 2 weeks ago. There was talk that he was going to be the second baseman. He was not going to be the second baseman. They brought him here to play third. They they blindsided Rafi. I think both sides were at fault there. I think Rafi could have handled it better. The Red Sox could have communicated better. But he moves to DH after a little conversation with Alex Cora. Let's calm him down. You're going to love DH. Big Papi was great at it. You'll be great at it too. Started off real slow the first few weeks of the season. Next thing you know, he's a top 5 hitter in the American League. Like, he was dominating DH. Then Bregman goes down, and it's like, I don't even know that we can approach Rafi about playing third. Like, we kind of ticked him off with, the whole moving to first base thing after Casas and moving to DH because Bregman's here. It was just this big mess where a lot of feelings got hurt. But to me, it never felt like it was going to come to this. It never felt like this is such an unsalvageable relationship where Rafael Devers needs to be traded to the San Francisco Giants. To me, I don't have an excuse for it other than the only thing that would kind of make me think of it differently is if Rafi demanded a trade. If it was really that broken. And I had reached out to some reporters in the know. One reporter was like, I think he might have asked out. And then I talked to a former teammate of Rafi's, and he was like, I don't think that that's true. So there's a lot of conflicting reports here in regards to, did Rafi ask for this? Did he want this? I don't know for sure.
Well, is that, to go back, you said one thing that really stood out to me, and is that after the Bregman injury, you felt like the team couldn't go to Rafi at that point. Do you think that's a problem in itself, that a team feels intimidated to go after a player to try to make an adjustment that's better for the team?
CY, it was a super uncomfortable situation as a fan, as an onlooker, to be like, here we go. Casas is out for the year. Do you want to play first? No? All right. Sorry for asking. And then Bregman has a quad injury. And it's like, well, you did play third base. You were a third baseman 2 months ago. I feel like we should be comfortable enough to ask you to play third base. But publicly, Alex Cora saying we're not even going to ask him to play third. It's one of. And then Sam Kennedy, the president, comes on Nesson a week ago. Is like, well, the conversations are ongoing, and when the time is right, he'll play first base. It's like, well, wouldn't the time be right when the first baseman was out for the season? Like, what is when the time is right? What does that mean? And obviously, like I said, feelings had to have been hurt between Breslow and Devers, because that was a conversation where you have Devers publicly say, he won't even say his name. He's like, yeah, the GM said this, the GM said that. So it was a big mess. But when you talk to the guys that are in the clubhouse, none of them were like, yeah, man, we're out on Rafi. That was not the sentiment. They were like, Rafi's happy around us. We obviously love having him in the lineup. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. So to me, it reeks of feelings getting hurt from the front office down to the player side.
All right, so let me hit you with this from a baseball point of view here, Jared. And I'm trying to play devil's advocate here on this deal and kind of justify it for the Red Sox. They've given the keys to the 3 kids, right, to Meyer, Campbell, and Anthony. The last time they gave 3 keys to kids, it was Benintendi, Betts, and Jackie Bradley Jr., and we all thought it was going to be the next incarnation of Lynn, Rice, and Evans. And it didn't turn into that, right, because they weren't buying holds. It feels like they've made a commitment to these kids in the lineup. The missing link has been starting pitching, and they did get 2 big-time arms in exchange for Rafael Devers, and they saved a ton of money at the same time. So from a baseball standpoint, could angry Red Sox fans be talked into this maybe being a good deal long-term?
So, Matty V, the comparison that I used for this, maybe you remember 2014 when the A's traded Cespedes for John Lester. Oh. And it's like, cool, we got an arm. That's exactly what we needed. And it's like, oh, wait, we traded our middle of the order bat. We kind of needed that. Can we have that one back?
Yeah.
So you can't just replace Rafael Devers. Can Roman Anthony become a middle of the order bat? Absolutely. I mean, he just hit a 497-foot grand slam the other day in AAA. But do they have that guy right now? No. I think it sends a horrific message to the guys that have been on this team from day one, that have battled, grinded, losing. I mean, for a long period of time, Trevor Story wasn't coming through. Casas out for the year. Bregman down for, hopefully it's not too much longer, but he's been down for a little bit. That was your 2, 3, 4, your 3, 4, 5, and then Rafi. It's like the whole middle of the order you've lost, and it's like, cool, you're getting back a couple of arms, and they've had this cluster in the outfield where they're trying to fit certain guys. How do you get Roman Anthony in the lineup? Who, between Duran and Rafael and Willier, how do you make those pieces fit? Well, now if you add 2 more arms, it's like, Walker Buehler's a guy, Giolito's a guy, Bayo just shoved today. Like, where do you fit these guys in? So the only way that you could justify this trade too is not only if he asked out, but if you got major league ready guys that are ready to help you today push this thing forward. I don't know that they did that.
Gosh, it kind of makes you wish the Netflix crew was still in that clubhouse.
Oh,
right?
that'd be strong.
I mean, you want to talk
kicking themselves.
Right? Had they only known. Jared, we appreciate the contributions, man. Thanks for the thoughts. It's intriguing, your perspective from the Red Sox side of this thing. Thanks for coming on with us at the 11th hour here.